Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. I think this will be a pretty cool video for everyone to see, where we got some pretty significant speed gains, especially considering Drake here is actually already decently fast. We started at roughly, let me pull it back up, give me 1 second. So we started roughly at, wrote it down here. Okay, so we started roughly at 158 to 161 ball speed, got up to 166 to 168, and actually hitting 173 and above 170 numerous times. So pretty significant jump there. If you're someone already in the high 80s to 160, to get it up to 170 and above is actually a pretty significant gain, which is nice to see. And then his 7-iron was already decently fast, 92 miles an hour. Club head speed, 122 ball speed, but the flight wasn't exactly 7-iron-esque. So you're going to see when I show you guys a swing, he was launching at 13.5 degrees, spinning in at 5,500, 3 degrees into out, 8 degrees down. So definitely numbers that aren't very good for a 7-iron. All of this is read on GC Quad. So I'm going to walk you guys through what we did here. He's an online client of mine. This was a 2-month progression that we worked through at the beginning of the year. So nice progression here. I'm going to walk you guys through how we did it. Hopefully some of this will be applicable to a lot of you guys. I think it will. Drake does a lot of things that a lot of amateur golfers tend to do almost to an extreme. He's a pretty athletic guy, so he made it work, but he does it to quite an extreme. So I think this video will help a lot of you guys out. So I'm going to show you guys a swing first on the left, down the line view. You're going to see very lifty, upright in the traditional sense where his hands go straight up in the takeaway. And you can see at the top there, he has like 0 depth. So probably the guy with the least depth I've ever worked with, from a starting standpoint. No depth. He's got tons of height, which is great, but no depth. Width is okay, but that's also because he brought his hands up so high. And then from the face-on view, you guys can really see why he's hitting down on the 8 degrees, and hitting it so low is because when he makes his turn, he doesn't really turn. He leans to the left as he lifts. Upper body is definitely in front of the lower body, and you can't see any of his back at all. So no turn. He just lifts. He tilts. Things that we don't really want in a backswing, he does, and then he just somehow gets it back on track, hits a decent ball. But in my opinion, he was pretty much capped at his potential with what he was working with. So I'll show you guys this one more time. This is what we were kind of starting with. It sounded great, like he hit it good, but not very functional as the club got longer. And again, like he's capped in terms of improvement, for the ceiling of improvement, in my opinion. So this is what we started with. And then starting stats on GC Quad. Again, you guys can see 92 club speed, 122 ball on the right. Hit it decently, 133 smash, 172 carry. Spin was decent, but he launched it way too low at 13.5. And you can see he's 3 degrees inside out, 7.5 degrees down, which is way too much for a 7-iron. So the first thing I really want him to do, well, the 2 big things for him was getting depth and making sure he turned properly. So if I show you guys the down the line swing, I'm going to show you, so the old swing on the left, kind of the next video he showed me on the right, you guys can see he already made some substantial improvements, where at the top he has no depth. On the right here now, I asked him to have his hands go the most inside and back, and now he actually has depth. So hands still nice and high, but you can see his hands are significantly behind his head more. I didn't really care about the downswing too much at the moment. I made it very clear to him that I wasn't going to care where the ball went, and just asked him to trust me a little bit. I'm happy he did trust me, and you guys are going to see why at the end. But already a big difference in terms of getting the depth. When we look at the face-on view, again, original video on the left, second video on the right, we're working with big lean and lift on the left, with the upper body leaning in front of the lower body. On the right here, I asked him to narrow up his stance a little bit to make the turn a little bit easier. And I asked him to get the most turn with the upper body going away from the target while the lower body turns towards the target. Okay, so that's the big thing that we're going to work through over this first month, and we actually worked through the backswing for like literally a month and a half before I suggested the downswing piece to him because it's just so important, and happy that he stuck with it, and you guys are going to see why at the end. So first try, I want him to go upper body turn away from target, lower body turns towards. A little bit better. So he definitely got more hip turn here because you can see his pelvis is pointed more that way compared to on the video on the left, his pelvis is still pointing this way. And you can see his body, his upper body is actually a little bit more turned on the right now compared to on the left. So great start. As we continue forward with it, I asked him to get more depth again because you can see video on the left was the second video at the top. I asked him to feel like his hands are a little lower because I don't want his arms to be significantly higher than his shoulders, okay? So when we continue forward, I asked him to get deeper. Let's see what he does here. You can see much different here now. So I really, really like this, okay? I love the lead arm covering the shoulders, and I love how much deeper he is. Compared to the video on the left, you can see his lead arm is definitely higher than his shoulders. He also did a much better job of turning here because it's kind of hard to point out at this angle for you guys. I'm going to switch it over to the face-on view. I actually don't have a face-on, sorry about that. But because he's turned more, his upper body is actually less tilted towards the target or leaning towards the target. So you guys are going to start seeing on the next videos where I had him feel like he was. I'm going to show you guys a rehearsal here. So he's here. So again, video on the left, he's doing a better job of not being so lean towards the target, kind of like the leaning trapeza, but still way too lean. At least he's turned more. Now on the video on the right, I had him work a lot with club across the shoulders, turning upper body way behind the lower body. So totally exaggerating this way, which I love for him right now. He's never going to get there in reality. Let's see what he does in the real swing. And not surprised he doesn't get anywhere close to there. But this is already way better. So you guys can see upper body is way less leaned. He's still getting that nice turn, pelvis pointing away more this way. So he's turning good. Much, much better in terms of top of the backswing already from second video and fourth video. So I grinded him a lot. I grinded him a lot with making sure he turned properly. Getting the hands deeper was actually quite easy for him. So again, very nice here. Good arm covers the shoulders. I like that. Club more pointing back. I like that. Left wrist flat, right wrist bent. As a righty, I love that. He did a great job with the arms and the wrists. For him, the biggest battle was getting the upper body and lower body to cooperate from the face-on view. So here, you guys are going to see, doing a better job now. His upper body actually loaded behind the ball. Love that. Ball was cut out for the video, but you can see his upper body is actually not leaning towards the target anymore. So in 5 videos that he showed me so far, this is approaching the end of the first month. We've gone from, going to put the old video on the left here. We've gone from this to this. Pretty significant changes. So if we compare top of the backswing, you guys are going to see way, way different. Upper body leaning way to the target. He's not turned at all with the lower body at all. Upper body now leaning slightly behind the ball, which I like. Still pretty centered in my opinion. He's just loading into the inside right heel as he turns behind the ball, which I like. Pelvis is pointing more this way. So it's just literally, I'm asking him to turn his upper body as behind and away from the ball as he possibly can. I don't care about him keeping his head steady. I'm encouraging him to get his head way off the ball as much as he can as he kept the depth, and he's done a great job of that. And then if we compare the down the line view from day 1 versus the down the line view on this session, you guys can see lots of great improvements from no depth, arm planes way higher than shoulder plane, no depth, compared to now on the right. Arm playing lead arm, covers the shoulders, way more depth than before. All that's good stuff. So if I play for you as a normal speed, video on the left compared to video on the right, way different. So love that, okay? So I basically monitor I needed to monitor the face-on view especially before we could go into the downswing. I had to make sure he owned it. So you guys can see video on this is the 6th video he showed me. Still did a really good job upper body turning behind the lower body. He's not as loaded to the right as I would like, but I will return to that later on. But I'm just very happy to see the upper body slightly behind the lower body, so which I really, really like. So if we compare, I'm going to put the face-on view on the left, put a P4 comparison at the top. You guys can see upper body away this way, upper body away the other way now. So really, really good comparison at P4 at top of the backswing on the right here between the first swing and the swing now. And then we continue working with that on the right here. Yeah, he turned a little bit more here. And honestly, for him, you're going to see his knee come in a little bit. It's just part of his physical limitation that he mentioned to me. I did try to see if it was actually a limitation, if it was just a concept misunderstanding, but it's actually a physical limitation. So I was okay with his left knee coming in. If you guys can actually see, one thing I've almost forgot is his lead foot actually lifts off the ground, way off the ground. You can see on the video on the left here. His lead heel is off the ground quite a bit. Same with the face on, you guys can see his lead heel comes up quite a bit, which I don't really like for him. And now the foot is actually on the ground now, or just slightly lifted up, kind of comes and goes. Foot's pretty grounded there, so I'm okay with the knee coming in. But again, turned nicely, he's loaded the inside right heel compared to video on the left. Definitely not loading inside right heel as he's leaning towards the target big time as his lead heel comes up. So really, really good job. I asked him, he's excited to start the downswing. I just asked him to give me more. This is kind of midway through the 2nd month now, just to see that he's owned it. And he has. So really happy to see. So at this point, this was the last swings I saw before I kind of cleared it to work on a downswing. So I'm going to put them side by side, down the line and face on. You can see he's kept the depth, which I love, and he's kept the turn into the inside right heel, upper body loading behind the ball. Love that, okay? And again, I'm okay with the knee coming in a little bit. I'm okay if the heel lifts up just a little bit, just not as much as what he was doing before with no turn. So much, much better here. We go on to the downswing. So the key thing I had him work on in the downswing is teaching him how to torque that right foot against the ground properly to create speed. So I reference throwing a medicine ball a lot, where you torque your right foot as a righty, you torque your right foot clockwise against the ground, down and against. That gets your hips opening up counterclockwise as you push up and rotate. If you're a lefty, just flip that. And the feel I had him do here was, I kind of videoed this for him. You see how when I push, my legs go down as my knees spread. My knees spread because I'm pushing in the correct direction. I'm not spreading my knees for the sake of spreading my knees, which a lot of people try to fake to do. And as I push it back up, you see how my legs push up, my pelvis pushes up, hip extension at the end, tall finish, okay? And the feel I had him do was for him, I was walking him through a 180-degree jump. So by jumping to your left as a righty golfer, it's going to teach you how to torque your right foot properly against the ground to give you vertical and to give you rotational. So you can see when I do this, I pretty much land in the same spot that I started with. I'm not jumping to my side 90 degrees. I'm not jumping sideways. I'm literally jumping straight up into the air as I torque myself to get 180-degree rotation. So you can see I load into the ground, I torque up, as my hips turn and I land at 180 degrees. So that's the feel, okay? So as he did that, he did a really, really good job of doing that, where now he knows how to use his right leg properly. His numbers spike up dramatically a couple of sessions in. So he's able to still keep that nice backswing. I really like seeing the depth. He's still got the height, got the depth, got the width. He's got the big 3 in the backswing, which I like. Left heel came up a little bit. I'm okay with that because he's actually turning to do so. And on the right here, you can see he's loading the inside right heel. He gets a little taller, which I'm okay with because that will lead to him actually pushing into the ground. And then he pushes back up later on. So very raw, but he's done a great job in doing it. Again, top of the backswing. Looks like this now. Nice turn behind the ball, which I really, really like. And then as we play this in normal speed, you guys are going to see much more flow. He actually pushes up into his finish now. A nice extension in the finish compared to swing 1. I'm actually going to play these side by side for you. So swing 1 and now swing down the line. Big lift, no turn. You can see he kind of stays down through the ball, doesn't extend through the shot. Compared to now, swing on the right, he's actually pushing up through the shot a little bit smoother. First face-on video on the left, most recent face-on video on the right. Big difference as well. So you can see his left leg is still slightly bent at impact because he's never pushed up. His right foot drags so much because all he's doing is stepping into his left foot, drags his right side, tilts back to try to shallow it out, but can't do it because he's still 7.5 degrees down on it. So big difference in how he's going through the ball compared to now on the right. Loads the right, pushes up, much more extension in his finish as he's pushing. Love that finish. So much taller. You can see he's not as tall here. So using his legs much better. Still work in progress, but he's already seeing significant gains. So if we compare the iron numbers first, you guys will see he's now slightly faster with the irons, 93.5 club speed. But the biggest change is his delivery is much more better, much more in a good spot. So he's now only hitting down on that 1.5 degrees. Which honestly he could afford to be a little bit more on the downward side, but we're okay with that for now because of how raw the downswing is. He's inside out 0.5 degree, so he's pretty neutral both ways right now. But you can see he's delivering way more dynamic loft, 29 degrees with a 7 iron. He could afford to be a little bit less, but honestly I'm pretty happy with that compared to 21. And he's actually launching it at 21 degrees now as opposed to launching it at 13.5. So bump up in speed and spin and loft. We could always get that fit later on. He's probably going to need new clubs anyways because of how different the driver is, especially. So big improvement in the delivery. Much easier to work around the delivery on the right compared to the delivery on the left, where we're struggling to get him launch angle. And the driver number is significantly different. Now this one is great, 121 club speed. 142 efficiency. I believe that adds up to 173 ball speed. 121 by 1.42. Yeah, that was 172 ball speed he showed me. But good delivery, hitting up on the 7 degrees on GC Quad for you TrackMan users out there, closer to 4 degrees up. So it's perfectly acceptable. 2 degrees inside out, really, really happy to see. So now he started at hovering 158 to 161 ball speed. Now he's hovering 166 to 168 with numerous shots above 170 and then actually hitting 173 as well. So really, really happy to see this. I'm going to show you guys the original swings one more time. So down the line original on the left, where we are now on the right with the down the line. Yeah, very, very lifty, no turn, no nothing on the left. Nice turn and depth and height and width with a nice right leg movement. Love that. And then original face on the left, where we currently are on the right. very leaning to the target on the left, and then now we're actually loading properly and then torquing properly. So really, really good start. Again, very Rob, very happy to see such a big upgrade in just 2 months with Drake. He's done a great job in trusting the process and believing in me when I say don't worry about where the ball goes initially. So happy to see where this goes. Hopefully everyone's staying safe. We're doing a lot of stuff indoors right now, as obviously going outside at the moment is tough. But any questions, leave in the comments below. Would be happy to answer them if I can. And keep practicing, guys. Stay safe. And thanks for watching, everybody.